Economics, Joseph's Economics class. We're on Unit 1, pages 29 through 30. Now for page 29 through 30, we're not going to do questions 1 through 4, which is pretty much most of the short answer questions. And also, we're not going to be talking about warranties. We're going to be focusing on just everything else in the boxes, in the definition boxes, because that's going to be directly related to what we're going to be doing in class. So with that, let's get started. Buying principles and strategies. The goal of advertisements is to win your consumer dollars, your discretionary income, and even some of your disposable income. Because, you know, for the things you do need, there's many options. And advertisers are willing to spend millions. I probably should have written billions. Like Pepsi and Coke have billion-dollar advertising budgets to attract your attention to their product. So there's 3 types of advertising and that companies will use to attract your business. Some of them are direct competitive advertising. So you've seen the I'm a PC, I'm a Mac commercials where they compare, like usually the Mac is like, oh, I'm so cool, I do all these cool things. And the PC's like, I'm a PC, I can do one thing and not very well. You know what I'm saying? And you've seen a lot of mocking ads on YouTube, I'm sure, where they flip it. But that's where they're directly saying, you see that product? I'm better. You choose them, you're going to be paid for it. You're going to be sorry. You want me. That's competitive advertising. Don't choose him. He's bad. Pick me. They want to switch all the way to the right. Informative advertising. Now, they're not comparing themselves to anyone else, any other brand names. They're just saying, here's my product. Here's what it does. This is exciting. You should buy this. Like Snuggies. That's informative advertising. They're not saying you should buy a Snuggie and not make your own quilt. Or I don't know. I mean, there's nothing to compare Snuggies to because it's a class of its own. It's do you want a Snuggie? Because it's awesome. It's great. This is why you should buy it. It's just telling you about the product and hoping that you'll want to buy the product. But they're not trying to bash anyone else. They're not trying to say buy us instead of someone else. They're saying there's no one like us. This is the only one of its kind. Buy this. This is why. And then finally, now competitive advertising, you'll see a lot of that. And you'll see a lot of informative advertising. Bait and switch is something you should not see very often because it's illegal. And in fact, most bait and switch advertising, you don't see it on TV and print because it's illegal. It's too easy to get caught. It'll be more talking to someone in person where it's a little bit harder to prove. What is bait and switch? Well, I use the example here of Linus and Lucy. Lucy, time and time again, puts the football and says, I will hold this football for you. And if you come running at me, and you kick the football, I will let you kick the football. And Charlie Brown wants to kick the football. I don't know why, they don't really explain it, but he likes to kick the football. And he's so much that he keeps wanting to try it. But to get him, so that's what Lucy says, to get him to run at her. Now, Lucy doesn't want him to kick the football. She wants to see him embarrass himself. She wants to see him fall on his butt. She wants to get some enjoyment at his expense. But to do that, she's got to convince him to come running at her. So she says, I'll hold the ball, I'll give you what you want, I'll let you kick the ball if you come running this way. And he does, and at the last minute, pulls it away. So instead of getting to kick the ball, which is what she advertised she was going to let him do, she swiped it away at the last minute, and instead of a football, he gets embarrassment because he flies in the air and falls on his butt. That's bait and switch. So that's illegal. That's straight up against the law. If someone says, I'm going to sell you a Toyota for $10,000 and it's a Toyota RAV4, you know, the truck. Unless it's a really old truck and in not so great condition, you're not going to get a Toyota RAV4 for $10,000. But if they're advertising $10,000 for a brand new RAV4 and you go down to the dealer and they say, oh, well, actually, we didn't really have any RAV4s, but how about I try to sell you on this Toyota Camry that's 10 years old? How about I try to sell you that instead? Or how about I try to sell you on the new Corolla? It's $20,000. Well, they just totally lied to get you to come check out their product. That's bait and switch. You're holding out the bait And as you try to go for the bait, snatched out of your hands and you get nothing. That's bait and switch. It's absolutely illegal. You're not going to see it can happen out in TV. It can happen in print ads. It's rare because it's straight up illegal. You cannot do that. Don't do that if you are any future business owners. So advertisements outside of bait and switch are not bad. They're not illegal. They throw, you see them all day, every day, and you get tired of them, but they're not necessarily anything wrong. There's nothing evil about them. They're just trying to get you to buy their product. Now, some people say like, but I never wanted to buy a product just because I saw a commercial. That doesn't really happen. And that's true because for the most part, they're not necessarily trying to get someone who didn't want to buy hot sauce to now want to buy hot sauce. Or I didn't want a pizza and I watched that and now I did. I mean, if they can get you to do that, that's great. They all hope their ads will do that. But for the most part, what the advertisement is about is going after the people who want that kind of product. So you're sitting at home going like, oh, these car commercials, they're kind of interesting, but I don't want to buy a car. They don't care. They're not trying to make those commercials for you. But maybe your parents are going to buy a car. Or maybe you are looking at buying a brand new car. There's always people looking to buy a new car. Every single day, there's always someone who's making the decision, I need to buy a new car. I don't know what I need to buy. So they're going to watch the commercials and they're going to be enticed to check out different products, different cars based on the commercials. So that's why they make the commercials. Even though you think like, well, half these commercials, they're not interested, they have no interest to me. They're not made for you. They don't have to they're not there for everyone to see, but they don't know who does and doesn't, so they make it for everyone to see. And that's leading right into comparison shopping, because when you are going to buy something, you need to get all the information you can on all the different types and prices of products available from different stores and companies. You should be doing this. You don't just buy any old thing. I'm just going to buy that because it's there. I mean, some people make decisions that way, but for the most part, if you're going to spend money, especially large amounts of money, you want to get information, and advertisers are trying to provide that information. You should be careful on what you believe about them, because even if they're not lying, maybe they leave out details. That's not necessarily legal. They don't have to advertise their flaws. You have to do your own research to find out what the flaws are. Cars aren't going to tell you that, or car ads aren't going to tell you that. Any ads only going to focus on the good and ignore the bad. Again, not illegal. You need to do your own research because they're not going to tell you about that. So, what's in a name? Got brand names and generic brands. So right here we've got, down here we've got a generic brand of beef ravioli, and then we've got a name brand beef ravioli, Chef Boyardee. This looks like, I don't think it's Kroger, but it's kind of like Kroger if you go to like Stater Brothers. It's generic, but it's a lot cheaper. If you can see, it's a little fuzzy. Chef Boyardee, same can, same size, same product, $3.79. Beef ravioli, $1.97. Name brand beef ravioli in tomato and meat sauce. I'm going to go for the generic brand, because in this case, for me, this is my opinion now. I'm not saying this is fact, and you should need to agree with me and write this for the test. But in my opinion, canned food's canned food. It's not going to be a big difference. Other kinds of food, I might think about what I'm buying. You know, is this name brand a name brand of quality, or they just pay a lot of advertising to make them look like they're high quality? Because people tend to trust brand names more than generic brands, because generic brands you never heard of, you maybe never heard of, and brand names you have. And a lot of people go, oh, well, if I've heard of them, they're probably successful, and I'm more likely to trust them. But you have to pay for that trust that you think you have with them. In my case, I don't think Chef Boyardee's earned the trust. I've had both. They taste the same to me. I'm going to get the Kroger version of beef ravioli if I was even going to buy canned food for ravioli. But I won't do that for all products. For shoes, if I want a good pair of running shoes, because I'm going to be working out in it, running, jogging, that kind of thing, if I buy a Payless shoe, it might last me a year, maybe two. If I buy Nike, I've had them go 5-6 years if you take good care of them. You know, I mean, depending on what kind of level of exercise you're doing. I mean, if you're skateboarding, maybe not. But if you're running and jogging, they don't take quite the same punishment as skateboarding, because you're not stopping yourself and dragging. You're doing ollies and whatnot. It's going to last a lot longer. So even though the Payless is way cheaper, if I have to buy a $20 Payless shoe every year as opposed to a $60 Nike that might last me $5, it's going to save me money to buy the quality product. So you get what you pay for, but sometimes the more expensive you pay, the more money you pay, the better quality you're going to get. And sometimes no, you're just paying for the advertising budget that they have to spend that the generic brand doesn't. That's part of the cost of a name brand. They have to spend billions of dollars. Well, some of that gets passed on to you. But if it's a quality product, then you accept that. It's not a conspiracy evil thing. That's just business. If you spend more on your product, you need to earn more to make a profit. That's the difference between brand name and generic brands. Don't assume one is always better than the other. Find out information on your own. Look them up, or just try them. You can always just try them and figure it out. It depends on your situation, what you can afford to do. That's it. So I'll see you in class. Your textbook assignment, in addition to these videos you watched, is to complete pages 32 and 34 in the